Junior year and leading into the end of senior year, there's always the constant, reoccurring, and nagging question that our parents, teachers, and honestly just whoever asks current high schoolers or current seniors. And the question is always, what are your plans after high school? But oftentimes, many people might not know how to answer. Maybe they're not sure if they want to go and dive straight into college, or maybe they're not sure what they want to do with the rest of their lives just in general, what they want to be, where they want to work, things like that. So this brings many students a lot of anxiety and stress because honestly, how is one supposed to know what they truly want to do with their life, especially at the age of 17 or 18? Like, that's a big decision. And it just feels like if you mess up or choose the wrong thing, like you're messing up the rest of your life. So often when we're in high school, it feels like college is almost a requirement because of like societal views. And if you don't have where you're going in mind or a plan that requires you to obtain your degree, so like a major, like maybe you want to be a doctor, nurse, teacher, whatever, it feels as if people almost look down on you. And I believe that high school students need to be educated on the alternative options so they can answer this reoccurring and nagging question that happens all the time throughout your senior year and be able to answer this question with confidence. So personally, I think the societal views of needing to go straight to college after high school need to be further evaluated because college is not in store for everyone right after high school, or maybe even at all, which is nothing to be looked down upon because I know many successful people without a college degree, my dad being one of them. And then one major problem also is when a student mentions a gap year after graduation, it seems like an instance where people almost chuckle or instantly start coming up with alternative options for you to pursue. But a gap year can be a major benefit for students and give them the time and opportunity to not only explore their options, but to see what they really want to do. And it also gives them the time to save for whatever their future may hold. So while societal views have become more open to a gap year, it's still something that is looked down upon, I feel like, and school systems need to change this view because they can be very beneficial. In an article that I read from the University of Nebraska Lincoln, it states that although these are both legitimate concerns, the term gap year comes with a plethora of negative associations because it's not a societal norm to take a year off of life. A year off of life in anything you do, whether that be right after high school, right after grad school, or just a year off because maybe you had a child or something, that's just not a societal norm. And so I think school districts, including my hometown, where I went is Eastern Hancock High School, really push college on kids and educate them on the variety of places they can go, but they never make it an importance to educate students on alternative options, like a gap year or maybe even trying out a trade school. So financially, going straight into college for many students is not their best option because they may not be able to afford it, or maybe they're just burnt out on academics from high school and need a year to pull themselves back together and to go into college with a clear mind because college is a lot of money. So if you're failing your classes, you're really honestly screwing yourself. So from my personal experience, I know that college is a lot of money because I pay for it by myself. My parents don't help me pay for my college because there's 5 children, so that's pretty pricey. So college is a lot of money, especially if you do not have help paying for it. And nearly 70% of parents with a college-bound child say they're worried about paying for their students' tuition because it can range anywhere from $15,000 to as high as $60,000 per academic year. So that's pretty insane. Like $60,000 is some parents' whole yearly salary. So in the state of Indiana, for a public university, tuition is generally around the 11 or 12,000s. And it's hard for students to understand the financial aspects of college until they personally take out a loan or something and realize the debt will impact them for the rest of their lives until they pay it off. So Like I said, it can range from anywhere from 15 to as high as 60,000 per year, or like 11, but honestly, once all the fees are added up, it ranges from 15. So I think the cost of college is something that is not really talked about often in high school. Yeah, we get told to apply for scholarships, but they don't really go over the price of college. And it's hard to put the debt into perspective until you're actually in it. Like in high school, I personally was taking on a lot of college tours on field trips, but the high cost of college was something I never really learned on these tours. They just taught us about the school and things like that. So although you can take out a loan, considering at age 18 you do not have this amount saved up, which most of us do not, because we're trying to focus on our academics in high school, especially if we want to go to college. So you will still have to pay interest on it later, which is something that is not made clear when schools are lecturing you on the importance of college, honestly. So tying in with the cost, COVID has brought a new factor into college. Many students throughout the pandemic had lost their jobs. Like if we're working a high school job, many students lost their jobs due to the virus, and this brings even more financial trouble with students. So it brought more financial trouble, and as stated in an article, colleges have went on a tighter budget due to this, having to lay off staff and things, so they haven't been able to provide as much funding to the students, which is a real big factor when deciding on college because it's expensive, like I did say. And not only did COVID impact colleges financially, but it impacts the socialization which lies within colleges, and a lot of students want to go to college for this social life, this party life or whatever, but students have had to wear masks and social distance, which sometimes involves students not being able to come into like other students' dorms and socialize with them, making it even harder for the students because college is a big transition. You're not with your family anymore. You don't have those built-in high school friends, so this makes it harder to make friends. And it also has an emotional impact on students as they can't create these close connections with their friends or even their professors. So dropout rates and graduation rates are not high when looking among public universities, but I believe the dropout rate would be lower if we were educated on the alternatives, because after conducting research, I found some particular reasons why students drop out, as they don't feel the emotional connection with their teachers like they did in high school, or they do not believe their degree will take them many places, so maybe if they went into a trade, they do better or something like that. And they consider this life kind of repetitive, like waking up in the morning, going to school, and things like that. So I conducted an interview with my father, Michael Holzhausen, who did not continue on to college. And he seemed to agree with this. He stated, "I do not think I could fathom paying loads of money to sit through the same repetition almost every day." My father is now a welder who always exclaims the importance of exploring your options. He says there are many ways to make a living and not all of them involve going to college. And he said being able to be adaptable and learn is huge, but it does not have to be in a school setting. From personal experience, Eastern Hancock, my hometown high school, did require us to take a college class, or to take a class our sophomore year called Prep College and Careers. But the careers in which we discussed in this class, many required a degree. So we never discussed the benefits of a gap year or something like that in there. Or we didn't really discuss a gap year as an option at all. And this might have students feel that they would be unsuccessful if they wanted to pursue that option. So another problem with high schools across the nation pushing college on students is a student may not know what their career goals are yet, and diving straight into college will not be the best way to figure that out because it's a lot of money, and they might get burnt out and then just drop out in total and not have any like hopes and dreams to do anything. So I know personally at my high school there were not a lot of classes made available to take that are related to a career you may want to pursue. Most of my class options in high school were general education courses, so it did not aid in giving me an idea of what I may want to do in my future. So I believe high schools fail to inform us that the best option in this instance may not be go straight into college and spend a lot of money on different classes to figure out, but maybe take a gap year and research and shadow different corporations where you may want to be in the future. Um, I think the college process is stressful and it's pushed in many high schools. And I do not think it's the school's intention to make us feel that it's our only option, but I think our educators in school, faculty truly want what's best for us, but college is not the only option. It's not the best option for some students, and they need to educate us further on our options, I think. So, I think one solution to this problem can be to implement a career-related topics to high school courses. Like, for instance, for my own personal experience at Eastern Hancock, we did not have the option to take many courses which may tie into the careers we want to pursue. So adding these classes will allow students to explore their options and see if college may be in store for them. But another issue which this would resolve is academic burnout. I feel many high schoolers and honestly freshmen, first-time college freshmen from my experience, are burnt out because they're required to take courses they're not necessarily interested in, and taking these courses in high school may allow you to already know what you want to do in college. Therefore, you can take a gap year after high school to refocus and regroup and go in starting your career strong. So, for instance, from an article I read, Racine exclaims, "A gap year allows the time for purposeful and informed decision making, and lastly, after 4 years of hard work, taking time to refocus oneself is important." So, offering courses which relate to a career student, two careers a student may want to pursue is good solution, but I don't think it's going to be the total solution. So, I just think this is something that high schools need to educate students on the different things we can do other than diving straight into college.